time for another episode of Timekeepers with George Anastasopoulos. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, today we're going to talk about measuring and managing time.
Indeed.
So what do you have for us today? Well,
it's interesting because we've heard the phrase, if you're not measuring it, you're not managing it. Well, it's very true. Think about our world today. If you happen to be in the world of sales, you're measuring sales on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly, annual basis, and in fact, you're probably working with some sort of CRM software to measure not just sales, but the activities leading to sales. If you happen to be in manufacturing, well, you're measuring productivity and outputs by line, by employee per hour, by shift. You get the point, right? If you happen to be in finance, you're measuring things like the economics of your business, profit and loss statements. You're measuring it through cash flow analyses. You're measuring it through things like balance sheets. All of those very important. And if you happen to be in education, of course we're measuring. We're measuring our students' ability to have learned through tests and reports and exams.
So with time being such a valuable resource, it makes sense that we measure it as well.
It sure does, because if we're not measuring it, we're just basically working with best intentions. And we've all heard about best intentions. Well, best intentions are not a plan. In fact, even a plan is not a plan without credible targets. And you can't have credible targets in your plan without the metrics that have contributed to those targets in the first place.
Well, let's take a look at your tips that you have brought in for our viewers today.
Absolutely. So there are 3 things I'd like to share with the group here today. Number 1, use your calendar for more than just scheduling, because we use it as a scheduling device in order to plan and have our appointments mapped out. But we can actually use it for actually allocating to say how I spent my 15 minutes every 30 minutes and so forth. Secondly, recap your time on a daily basis against those priorities that we've talked about before, those activities that are important to us. And thirdly, summarize that recap of time on a monthly basis and then review it quarterly against that time plan. If you do those 3 things, what will end up happening is not just a more effective plan, but you'll have more effectiveness executing against your time plan. You'll be further ahead.
Great advice. Thanks again, George.
Glad to be here.